Do you believe that I can change the outcome of a football game with a skirt? I let my hair down and demonstrated to the little girl next to me. While the game was still going on, I walked to the other blue team and started to touch up my makeup. I could feel them looking at me, so I looked back. I slowly took off my gloves, revealing my shoulders, and every movement was like a carefully arranged movement, affecting the atmosphere on the field. Back then, I thought I would only be chased and spurned, but now I can use my beauty to disturb the mind of a team. The originally disadvantaged red team turned around and won. All this was just because of a skirt. The girl was moved and came to my house that night to ask me to design a dress for her to attend the upcoming celebration party. I agreed. She didn't just want to be beautiful, but to fight for herself in this depressing town. On the night of the dance, she made a stunning appearance, and the whole audience was silent. She confidently walked towards the rich second generation she had been secretly in love with for a long time. I could see that her heart was trembling, but I also knew that everyone's eyes were on her. Sure enough, he was fascinated by her. Her transformation was like an explosion, which not only blew up the boy's heart, but also shattered the contempt of other women. Women who originally looked down on me came to my door one after another to ask for clothes. The streets of the town gradually became more and more populated with women wearing dresses designed by me. They were no longer just country women, but elegant, intellectual, and humorous protagonists. The reputation of the shop gradually rose, and I thought my mother would be happy for me, but her expression became more and more gloomy.
You never came back for me. Came back for them. Make them think they're classy. They'll still hate you.
I didn't expect that her pain had not been healed, and I was the source of her pain. At this time, Sheriff Teddy came to me and said that someone reported that I was hiding contraband. I was about to walk over, but my mother suddenly held my hand tightly. When I was a child, I was also taken away from my mother by the sheriff because I didn't have a father. My mother and I were often insulted for no reason.
Your mother's a slut, and you're a bastard.
The mayor's son took the lead in bullying me.
Get Johnny Bob! Get her!
I asked the teacher for help, but the teacher just calmly closed the curtains. I don't remember what happened afterwards. I just remember that the mayor's son died that day, and then I was driven out of the town. The sheriff came in with the boxes, but I didn't stop him. I was never afraid of them opening the things I brought back. The boxes were opened one by one, and there were silk, gauze, sequins. I saw his eyes gradually change. He touched the red satin and put it on. I could see that it was not only my clothes that attracted him, but also my freedom from the framework of the small town. He couldn't help but discuss the design with me.
And how do you feel about ruffs and flants? So do I.
I didn't expose her, but responded seriously. That night, he confessed to me in my room that I was driven out of the village that year, not because of the law, but because of the lynching of the mayor's father. He said he wanted to protect the town, but in fact, he was covering up his son's evil deeds.
Stain me with the ink!
The mayor saw that my business was good, so he immediately hired a new tailor to try to poach all my customers. I know that he was jealous of me, not because of my skirt, but because of the way I was accepted again. As it happened, Teddy persuaded me to leave. He saw the stubbornness in my bones and knew that this town could not accommodate my true talent. I wanted to agree to him, but I couldn't bear it. I couldn't bear to leave my mother, those clothes, and the unresolved grievances. It's not that I don't want to escape, but if I don't reconcile with the past, I will be chased wherever I go. At this time, Gert's wedding dress had a problem. The skirt made by the new tailor was so ugly that it was laughable. She ran all the way up the mountain and asked me to help her change it. I didn't refuse. While comforting her, I sewed and remade the wedding dress and even blocked the tailor. When the rich second-generation family arrived and Gert transformed into a beautiful woman,
I decided to go back to Tilly. I think she understands my particular body shape.
the rich second-generation mother was so angry that she almost fainted, but her son looked at Gert as if he had seen a new world. At that moment, I understood. I didn't design clothes, but opportunities to break free from fate again and again. The mayor's wife also came to me to make a dress. She told me that she had been locked up at home by the mayor and didn't know about me and her son. She told me that the teacher told her that
He fell out of a tree and died.
and the teacher was the only eyewitness. There was a new clue in front of me, and of course I couldn't miss it. In order to get the confession, I bribed the sheriff with a feather scarf and got the teacher's confession. While reading her testimony full of loopholes, I exposed those lies one by one. She looked more and more flustered, and finally admitted under pressure that she didn't see what happened at all.
I wasn't there. I came around the corner and saw.
She only saw me standing next to the mayor's son when he fell. In order to shirk responsibility and prevent the mayor from blaming her for dereliction of duty, she pushed all the mistakes to me. I waited until the truth came out, and I ran to the sheriff and begged him to clear my name. But the sheriff told me coldly that the mayor had the right to send me away because he was also my father. At this time, the mayor's wife shouted accusations. She had just learned about me and her son from the teacher, and her spirit was completely broken. The scene fell into chaos, and I still held on to the confession tightly, begging the sheriff to help me overturn the case.
She's mad!
You believe me. You tell them.
But I still didn't have an alibi, even if all the evidence was false. As long as the people in the town believed that I was the murderer, then I must be. I was completely desperate and turned to run away. Only my mother, Teddy, and his brother chased me out. My brother's crazy gestures, as if to tell me something.
But she moved!
But I was so lost in my grief that I didn't pay any attention to what my brother said. I returned to that nightmare. When the mayor's son pounced on me, it was his own impulse that made him fall to his death. It was not me who killed him, but his violence that killed himself. Finally, I recovered my memory and let go of my guilt. All these years, I always thought that it was my misfortune, my curse, and my killing of him. But it turned out that the hatred and cowardice of the whole town jointly constructed this lie. But I still didn't dare to accept Teddy's love, fearing that my inherent bad luck would also drag him down. In order to reassure me, Teddy decided to prove it to me in the most absurd way in the town. He was going to jump into the bone warehouse full of rats. I begged him not to go, but he forced me to admit that I was not cursed. He jumped down without waiting for my answer. I was stunned. I finally mustered up the courage.
There is no curse, Teddy.
There was a dead silence in the bone storehouse. No one told us that the wheat that day had been replaced by sorghum. The dampness and collapse swallowed him like a swamp. Teddy suffocated to death just like that. My mother did not blame me, but just helped me clean up his body silently. I held his cold hand, and the resentment in my heart also dissipated with him. On the day of the funeral, the town refused to let me in, and even Teddy's beloved brother was driven out. We, who were abandoned by them, Teddy's family chose to leave, leaving this selfish and indifferent place. But I lay in bed and lost my soul. Walking into the grocery store that had become glamorous because of me, the souls of those women have never really changed. They kept saying that I killed Teddy without any reflection. If it weren't for people's bullying and prejudice, how could he and I have come to this point?
I'll see to it she finishes what she started. You're the curse. You gotta be stopped.
At this time, a few strangers came to me. They came from the next town, with a letter of recommendation left by their mother, asking me to design their competition costumes.
Isn't that your signature?
Tilly Dunnage, beloved daughter of... So I started to act, but before I really fought back, I knocked on the door of the mayor's wife and told her the true face of the mayor. The mayor's wife finally stopped being silent. She locked the door, and the man who had imprisoned her for half her life finally tasted the taste of being trapped. The people in the town didn't know what happened that night, and they naively squeezed on the bus to participate in the music festival showdown. When they arrived, they found that the opponents' costumes were far better than theirs. They were designed by me.
Costumes by
Tilly Dunnage. And I was ready to go. I ignited the gasoline with a fire, and then used a red carpet to lead the flames to the town. I wanted to forgive, but they never deserved it. Once, I thought I was just an abandoned child, and I thought that what prevented me from returning was just a truth that had not yet been revealed. Now I understand that it is not that I am unworthy of my hometown, but that this land is never worth my return. Now, I want to fly to a farther place with my talent. The history of the town will be burned by this fire, and I will only leave my back, passing through the dust and facing the light.
Fire someplace.
Yes.
Burning off rubbish, were they? Looks like they overdid it.